Good morning, folks. Today is June 22nd. I think it's a Wednesday. No, yeah, it's a Wednesday. This is episode 137 of Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat briefing. I'm your host, Dr. Gerald, and over the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, what it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break in the industry, you'll definitely be able to get some value out of this. We'll do a story. I'll pause it. I'll give my take on it. Some expert analysis. Chat will blow up. You guys always bring really great insight and perspective from your experiences into the chat, into the show. So it's definitely going to be a good time. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Love those guys. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. Thank you to Eric Taylor and the Barricade Cyber Solution gang for sponsoring the stream and being part of the Simply Cyber community. I want to remind you, if you hold a professional certification that requires CPEs, each episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Briefing is worth half the CPE, so 2.5 a week, 10 a month. Be sure to say what's up in chat so you can document literally the easiest and I would argue the most enjoyable and beneficial to you as a professional way of getting CPEs, which can be brutal. If anyone here has, had certs for a couple years, you know that sometimes you get to the end and it's like time for CPEs and you start watching like webinars that you don't care about, grinding to figure out whatever you're going to get for your CPEs, and it's like one CPE and you're like, oh my God, this is taking forever. This daily cyber threat briefing, way better option, I promise you. If you're live, love it. Thanks for being here. I see 54 you stacked in here already. We're going to have a great show today. Super excited. If you're watching on replay, drop hashtag team replay in the chat. I see all of you dropping the hashtag team replay. I'm actually thinking about getting a shirt made up just that says hashtag team replay because that movement is moving so well. But you guys know the routine. If you're watching on replay, you can just jump right to the news. So when this promo card changes to actually news related stuff, that means that we've started. So if you want to just scrub and wait for the screen to change, that's your prerogative and you're welcome to do it. But for the next, 2 minutes or so, I am going to be drinking the first sips of my cup of coffee and welcoming all of you Simply Cyber community members into chat. Good morning, Rodrigo. Good morning, Usha. Always nice to see you. Hey, Bernice. Ed, always good. Hola to you. Hey, Alex Goodwin. Going to be playing some Threat Gen Red versus Blue today, Alex. Coming for your title. Hey, Bill Green. Happy hump day. Ryan Spishak. Always nice to see you. Oh, yeah, that coffee's something else right there, buddy. Hopefully we don't have audio issues today. Instead, we're dealing with video issues. You can see that this C922 Logitech webcam, my original Simply Cyber webcam, it's now my travel webcam, is glitching. I've tried screwing around with drivers and crap like that, but no love. Hey, DevMeister up in the DC area. Good to see you. Where are y'all dialing in from? Hey, Shane Prevost. I don't think Shane's in the car right now. Kids are out of school, I think, right? Hey, Carrie, good to see you. I am calling in from the beautiful Northeast. It is unbelievably nice up here right now. First day of summer was yesterday, but you wouldn't know it. Hey, Black Knight, good to see you. Hey, Cybersecurity Central, love what you guys do. Guys, if you don't, hey, in Washington, D.C., if you guys don't follow Cybersecurity Central on LinkedIn, strong advice that you do. Kimberly, Michelle, they run Cybersecurity Central. They don't spam you. They actually put together a nice little digest at the beginning of the week. So if you're new to cybersecurity and you're still trying to figure out what's going on here, subscribe to Cybersecurity Central because they'll give you basically a curated playlist of what you should be checking out this week. It's on Monday, so every week it's here's what you should be doing. It's an awesome leg up. I love what they're doing. Hey, Patrick in Colorado. What's up, Jordan in the DC Beltway area? New Zealand in the house. Hey, Liam, I appreciate that. I've been to New Zealand. I went to the lower island of New Zealand. Good morning, Doc. Greetings from Michigan. Hey, Derek on LinkedIn. Good to see you. Atlanta, Georgia, representing ATL. Love myself some Outcast. What's up, Mick Lardy? Joel Belton, always nice in here. Oluwo, good morning. Just guys, grant me some grace. I just need a couple more sips of coffee, and then we'll get into the chat. Into the news. Yeah, there is a massive heat wave rolling across a lot of the United States, not just the Southeast. Hey, Russell Brinson. I hope work is going well. Russell and I connected quite a bit back in late 21. Florida's up in here. Colorado Springs. Dude, I'll tell you what, guys. I love Colorado. I've been to Colorado many times. Love Colorado. Hey, Roxby in Charlotte. Good to see you. David B. Congrats. Guys, we will be raffling off GRC vouchers for the GRC course, Compliments of Barricade Cyber Solutions, later in the show, so stick around for that. All right, guys. I think I can sip the coffee with y'all as we get into the stories. Oh, Scotland in the house. Canada in the house. Wow. Good stuff, guys. I do want to thank each of you for sharing with your social networks the daily cyber threat briefing. We've seen an uptick in community members and activity, so it's definitely working. People are enjoying what we're doing here, and it's really delivering value to them. So thank you, each of you, for doing your part. All right. Well, William Helsall, yes. William messaged me yesterday. Good to see you, William. It's 2 a.m. there, so let's get on with the news so William doesn't have to stay up too late, okay? Let's do it. Let me know if my audio goes out. Pretty standard Simply Cyber protocol.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. Cloudflare outage impacts crypto exchanges. On Tuesday, Cloudflare suffered a widespread outage affecting services of a large number of its customers, including Shopify, League of Legends, Discord, Feedly, DoorDash, and NordVPN. The outage also affected several major crypto exchanges, including OKX, Bitfinex, and FTX, prompting OKX's CEO to tweet a plea for, quote, Web3 alternative in the future, end quote. Cloudflare had most services back online within 2 hours and has not yet disclosed the cause of the incident.
All right. Well, here's the deal. Okay. When you're depending on what I would consider critical infrastructure, a service like Cloudflare, a service like Google, like these big tech companies that are entrenched. And when I say Google, I don't mean the search. I mean like Google DNS, Google networking, like at layer 3. Okay. The crap can happen like this, and they kind of wrap it around a crypto exchange issue, but like tons of services that rely on Cloudflare for kind of network services. Cloudflare provides DNS resolution, which you can actually get for free. They provide denial of service protection. They provide a bunch of stuff. It can go down, guys. You can't. This is third party risk management, day 2 type stuff here, right? If you depend on something that you have no control over, then you're at the whim of them, right? And you can have a 5 nines availability contract and pay through the nose, but you could still have outages, and all you can do is recoup losses through litigation or an insurance policy or something like that. So not surprised here. The one thing that I'm like irritated about, and it's because I have a disposition against this crypto bro situation. The CEO of whatever, FTX or Bitfinex or whatever, pleading for a Web3 option. Like, dude, with all due respect, like Web3, like I get it, but like it still rides on the same layer 3 network as everyone else. You don't have a Web3 internet. Okay. So like, obviously this guy's a business guy, not a tech, but it's like, you're going to build a separate internet for Web3. I mean, how about we can introduce some like resiliency and some robustness and some like graceful failovers to disaster recovery type situations, or like alternative processing solutions in order to avoid outages, right? That's why we have high availability. That's how you address outages or prevent them. But a Web3 option, it's like, no, that's not how that's not how the internet works, sir. So I'm not digging that. If Web3 people want to invest heavily into uplifting the infrastructure of the overall internet, I'm all about that. We can all win there. But I didn't find that to be a pretty informed comment. I felt like that was just like a plead because he was watching his the value of his assets go down and he couldn't control it. So he was just like swinging frantically. So
Biden signs a pair of cybersecurity bills. On Tuesday, President Biden signed into law two bipartisan bills that will aim to enhance cyber coordination with state and local governments and strengthen the federal cyber workforce. The first bill will enable CISA to offer state and local authorities access to upgrade digital security tools and procedures, and will also bolster the Multi State Information Sharing and Analysis Center to help prevent and respond to cyber incidents. The second bill establishes a rotational cyber workforce development program across government agencies in an effort to better compete with the private sector for cyber talent.
hmm.
7-Zip.
Okay, so this is really interesting. There's a couple of things here. Okay, so like this is one that you might want to do. And I know that people think like as much as people think that like GRC is boring and like federal policy is boring, guys, this is like legit right here. Like a pair of laws are in order or have been executed. So now there's going to be like funding and support behind these things. The two things that they said, one is that they're going to bolster the essentially the MS ISAC, which real quick, this is like one of those lessons learned if you're new to the industry. And if you're in the industry and you don't know this, definitely be interested. There's these things called ISACs, ISAC, ISAC. And it stands for Information Sharing and Analysis Center. And it's basically like a private club that you opt into in order to help prevent threat actors from getting in there. But there's different ISACs for different industries. So like there's like an automotive ISAC, there's a financial services ISAC, there's an aviation ISAC, healthcare ISAC, higher education. Okay. Most of them have it. There's a multi-state ISAC, which is kind of like a catch-all. I'm a member, or I was a member of higher ed, healthcare, and multi-state. Now I'm just a member of multi-state. It's kind of a catch-all. Anyways, it allows people who are practitioners to collaborate, ask questions, share knowledge. If somebody sees something wicked fishy going on, they send out a communication blast. And the idea behind it is that it is a kind of it's like an analog threat intelligence sharing, much the way that like the daily cyber threat briefing is. Some of the nicer ISACs will actually have like taxi and sticks threat intelligence services, which you can consume into your products. They're not those threat intel sources are not designed for human consumption. They're designed for machine consumption. They have those. So long story short, the MS ISAC is getting bolstered, which who the hell knows what that means, but I'm assuming it means money, which means more eyes, more people, more resources, more integrations, etc. So that's really cool. The one that also sticks out here is the Federal Rotation Cyber Workforce Program Act, and this is going to establish a rotational cyber workforce development program across government agencies in an effort to compete with lucrative private sector. And the idea here is that people who are in the program would rotate through federal government civilian agencies to sample jobs and get skills. I've got news for the federal government. Like this is cool because you're going to rotate your job. Two things. One, does that mean that you have to move in order to rotate your job? Because that's not going to be really amicable to a lot of people. And then two, like as soon as I rotate and I get those skills, I'm even more valuable on the private sector market. So I don't know if this is like a band-aid where they're thinking, oh, if we introduce the federal rotation program, we'll keep staff for an extra 2 years, because all you're doing is increasing the value of that staff member. And I'm all about it. Trust me, I'm for the people. So as far as treating your staff well and giving them training, but here's my thing. And guys, if you've ever worked in the federal government, right? And I've worked a lot with the federal government, like their pay sucks, but typically their training budget is like huge, right? So you can go to every SANS training, you can travel all over the place, right? Like there's deep pockets when it comes to training and stuff. And it's part of it is to help offset the fact that they can't pay you market a competitive market salary. So this federal workforce rotation program, I guess what I would say is if you work in the government right now, state, local, federal, whatever, you may want to check this program out, and you might even be able to like pivot into the industry, right? Because the federal government is setting this up. You might be like a network admin and you can jump into a SOC analyst or a GRC person and rotate and crack that chicken and egg problem that we all deal with, where if you're trying to break into the industry and you need 3 years of experience for an entry level job, and you can't get the job because you don't have the experience, you can't get the experience because you don't have a job, this might be a solution to crack that cycle and actually do it. So stay tuned for that. Very interesting.
Now supports Windows Mark of the Web security feature. 7-Zip has finally added support for the long requested Mark of the Web Windows security feature. In 7-Zip 22.00, Windows adds a special MOTW identifier to files downloaded from the internet or other computers. Windows will display a warning message to users attempting to open such files. If the user opts to proceed, Microsoft Office will open the file in read-only mode and disable macros. You can check a file for Mark of the Web by right-clicking it in Windows Explorer and viewing its properties.
Oh my gosh. Did anyone else think like Mark of the Beast? Like as soon as you heard that, it's like like exe file 666 like right across the forehead of the file. But okay, so 7-Zip now supports Windows Mark of the Web. All right, whatever, that's fine. I don't know much about this Mark of the Web thing. I will tell you that yesterday I'm getting ready for the CMMC level 1 simulation that I'm doing later today, which I'll tell you about in a little bit if you're interested. But I was trying to download Excel workbooks looking for CMMC level 1 in a way that could be visually consumed by you all on stream. And yeah, exactly, Russell. So, and every Excel file I downloaded, I tried to open it, and Excel was like giving me a hard time about it being a protected view. I tried disabling protected view. I tried doing all this crap. Eventually, I just took the Excel file and threw it up into Google Drive and opened it as a Google sheet, which worked perfectly fine. So, +1 for Google, fail for Microsoft. I don't know if it was protecting me from myself or whatever, but for the general end user, for all the Carls, can I get some Carl emotes in chat, please? For all the Carls, I love this, right? This protects yourself from yourself, right? So somebody, delicately and elegantly drops a fish on you with a link to a Google Drive file. You download it locally to your machine. You go to execute it, and your application slaps you in the face and says, "No, not today, not today." So this is huge. Hopefully the person can't run this. But see, the thing is, the Mark of the Web feature, it doesn't determine whether or not the file is malicious or benign. It just notes that it came from the internet. And in this crazy mixed up world that we live in, where everything is like SaaS products and shared and open love and open freedom and all this other stuff, a lot of crap is coming from the web. So if I make a file on my computer and upload it to Google Drive and then share it with the Simply Cyber community, is that got the Mark of the Web? Like when does the Mark of the Web get added? Is it by the browser as it's downloading? I'd be curious a little bit about that. Thanks everybody for the Carls. I love the Carls. I'll tell you a personal story really quick. I've had multiple people, like you would be, I'm sure my SOC analysts and my IR people are not going to be surprised, but you'd be surprised at some of the things that end users download. And then when you contain it, and then you ask them to explain to you what they did, so you can make sure that you've rooted out all of the compromise. Some of the things that they go to and download, it's like how, like you said you were downloading a compliance safety checklist, and this site has a bunch of minions on it. What? Like that's a real story, right? Like a real story. So, the Mark of the Web, good on you. However it operates, if it can help Carl not download and execute malicious executables on my network, thank God. Yeah.
Microsoft Patch Tuesday Part 2. On Tuesday, Microsoft released out-of-band updates to address known issues in Azure and Microsoft 365 on ARM devices. Microsoft's June 2022 Patch Tuesday updates are believed to have caused the issues, which affect services including Azure Active Directory, VPN, Teams Desktop, OneDrive for Business, and Outlook Desktop. Microsoft said the updates will be automatically installed via Windows Update and can also be downloaded and installed manually via the Microsoft Update catalog. And
All
now,
right. All right. So before we listen to the commercial, real quick. Okay, so real quick, ARM is a processor technology stack. So you may have heard of Intel. This only really relates to you or your end users if they're using devices with ARM chips in it. Now, if you don't know if the device has an ARM chip in it or not, then you just assume that there is, right? Because it's easier to do that. Basically, again, you got to remember we live in kind of a cloud-based SaaS service model now. So like, even though Windows runs on, well, I guess Windows can run on an ARM chip, but anyways, these services, they push down apps and stuff like that. Microsoft releases patches, lots of patches every first Tuesday of the month, I believe, or second Tuesday. You guys will have to correct me. I might be wrong. It's been a million years. It used to be Patch Tuesday. But it can affect all sorts of devices now because you're basically pulling down apps and not just kind of sitting on the operating system. So it looks like there was some issues with the ARM chip, Office 365. All I would say is, guys, and I almost need a pop-up visual effect or something like that. It's rinse and repeat, guys. Patch your stuff. Make sure your endpoints, your tablets, your phones, your laptops, your desktops, your workstations, your endpoints, right? The things that Carl touches, that's basically an endpoint. If Carl touches it, it's an endpoint. Make sure that they're kept up to date. It's simple as that. Okay. The fact that this is an emergency out of band patch is interesting because really Microsoft just had to wait a few weeks to push it out in band. So you typically only do out of band when it is a serious issue, right? It's either being actively exploited or it's causing like availability issues, right? Like the integrity gets compromised and stuff like that. So long story short, check out this. If you're running Microsoft 365 in your environment, I am running 365 in the environment that I manage right now. So I'll be digging into this a little bit. I do have a couple users who are running different types of mobile devices and stuff like that. So I'll probably here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read this article after we're done. If there's any type of action to take, which is probably ensure that your apps are updated, I'm going to bundle that up into a very easy to digest message. And I'm going to blast it to my end users. And I'm going to just say, hey, FYI, because here's the thing. If you're not running an ARM chip, right? Like let's say you're running something else. The guidance won't matter because the guidance will probably say, I'm speculating here, but go in and make sure that your Excel app is updated and all this other stuff. And a lot of people auto update their stuff. So it might not be a big deal, but here's the one thing. I would not tell end users ARM devices or ARM chipsets or anything like that. You don't want to say that because they're going to stumble over that and be confused. They're going to be thinking like ARM, right? And that's not what we want them to think. Okay. So let's listen to the commercial. Again, I'm going to stop saying this after today, but David Spark at CISO Series spoke to me and asked if I would be kind enough to continue, to play through the commercial instead of skipping it like I normally do. So we're going to listen to that together.
We'd like to thank today's episode sponsor, Optiv. Modernizing your identity control plane from AD to the cloud is complex. Ralph Martino, who is leading the Identity and Access Management Group for Optiv, discusses what challenges CISOs are facing in today's ever-changing climate, increasing security, decreasing risk, and lowering cost. Learn more at www.optiv.com/IAM-Microsoft.
Okay, well, since this is the natural break in the show, I want to take a minute and tell everybody thank you to Barricade Cyber Solutions because Barricade Cyber Solutions has agreed to sponsor a raffle of 4 GRC Master Analyst Class vouchers every day this week. We've had 8 winners already. A great group of people. By the way, if Pamela if Pamela's on here, Pamela, you reach out to me for the voucher. You didn't reach out to me yesterday, or I didn't see it. So we're gonna go ahead and queue it up. The code word for today is oh, okay. Justin Gold will love this one. The code word for today is spicy, SPICY. If you'd like to enter to win the GRC Analyst Master Class voucher, compliments of Barricade Cyber Barricade Cyber Solutions, drop spicy, just like Elroy Judson just did. Spicy in chat will enter you into the raffle, and we will pick at the end of the episode. So thank you very much again to Barricade Cyber Solutions. While everybody's queuing up with their raffle entries, I just want to remind everybody, I spoke to it a minute ago with the Mark of the Beast file extension. But later today at 11:30 a.m. today, so, in just 3 hours, it's Wednesday, and I play on the ThreatGen Red versus Blue cybersecurity simulation platform every Wednesday at 11:30 live on stream. What does this mean to you? I basically step into a simulation platform. Today, I will be operating as a blue team. I can be blue or red. I'll be taking on an active adversary, artificial intelligence, who will be trying to break into my industry, break into my business, and bring me down. As the CISO, I have many options. Right? I've been around a long time. I implement a cybersecurity framework that matters. Well, obviously it has to matter, but like that makes sense for my organization, right? So if I was going into like a 5-person company, I'm not going to roll out a NIST 853 high baseline. That would be stupid. Okay. But there's different frameworks that have different reasons to implement at different times, right? So CMMC is basically going to be required if you're going to do business with the federal government. So my question was, is CMMC level? There's 3 levels: level 1, 2, and 3, and I will get into all of this on the stream. But is level 1 worth a damn to protect your organization? Spoiler alert: I don't think it is. I'm going to do everything I can with all of the experience I have to protect this organization and outlast the AI active adversary. But I have my suspicions that level 1 is insufficient based on my evaluation. So if you want to come hang out with me, watch the game. But at the same time, I'm going to be talking all about CMMC, explaining what it is, digging into level 1, looking at the actual controls, explaining what the controls are. So it's going to be a very, very educational opportunity. And I'm telling you right now, guys, if you want to work in GRC space, this is actually going to be a lot of value to you because CMMC is coming. The CMMC 1.0 was a hot mess, a lot of corruption, a lot of just money exchanging hands and crap like that. But that thing that imploded and it took care of itself. And now we're on CMMC 2, which looks like it's going to work and it's going to happen. So I'm going to explain to you why as a GRC analyst, you should understand it, B, how to understand it, and then C, if it's worth a damn to protect your organization. Spoiler alert, I don't think it is. I think level 2 might be okay. Maybe I'll do level 2 another time, depending on how this level 1 goes, but come join me. If you want to go there, you go to youtube.com/threatgen. Here, I'll put it in chat really quickly. Just go there right now. You can see when you go there, you can hit the notify button or you can hit the subscribe button if that's more your speed. I do this every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. on the ThreatGen YouTube channel. So that's all I'll say about that. I hope you can come hang out. It's going to be a wicked good time.
Icefall flaws impact thousands of exposed industrial devices. Forescout researchers published a security report detailing a set of 56 operational technology vulnerabilities referred to collectively as Icefall. The bugs span across 10 vendors and enable remote code execution, compromised credentials, firmware and configuration changes, authentication bypass, and logic manipulation. Notably, 74% of vulnerable products had previously been certified for their security. Forescout noted, quote, many of the vulnerabilities are due to insecure by design nature of OTs, end quote, adding that there were a number of flawed authentication schemes. Impacted customers have been advised to apply available bug fixes through firmware upgrades or segment OT networks and monitor activity while they wait on a fix.
All right, so this is not good for the OT community. So you might, like I myself, asked this question, and then I thought about it for a second. So you might ask, like, why are they bundling 56 different flaws across multiple vendors and calling it one thing, Icefall in this case, right? With like um, heart hurts or hurts bleed the other day, or log4 shell. Like, it's typically a single vulnerability on a single solution, and it's what we're all talking about, right? And this one, what the hell is going on? Well, here's the problem. The 56 flaws that impact thousands, they're probably very, very similar. And it's very likely that some of these vendors implemented the same kind of libraries or the same kind of drivers or tech stacks or methodologies for authentication, for configuration, as like an industry standard. So that's why they're bundling it together. You're probably not going to get like one patch to fix Icefall, but um, and I'm not going to flip out. I think Icefall is begging for a logo. I hope Forescout puts in the time and does a logo. But anyways, this is going to be difficult to fix. Okay, OT guys, OT, operational technology, industrial control systems. They control cyber physical systems. They open and close valves. They allow a certain temperature to happen. Right? It's industrial. Here's the problem. A lot of these devices or systems were designed like in the 70s, pre-information security concepts and structs. They cost a lot of money. It's very, very expensive and time consuming to replace technology with more secure technology, especially when you're trying to make the argument to the business to hey, like, we need to spend $4 million to replace this machine. Well, and I feel like a broken record, guys, but like, we got to replace this machine. Well, the business's first question is, what's wrong with the machine? Well, it's got a vulnerability. Whoa, 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 whoa. Does it still produce money? Right? Because I mean, that's what they're thinking, right? Obviously, it opens and closes the valve, but like, is it making us money? Yes. Do we have any more cost associated with it? No, we paid it off in the late 80s. Well, then get out of my face, nerd, because we're going to continue to operate. So you're introducing risk. And again, there's a lot to chew on this, or there's a lot of meat on this bone. There's always been a major discussion in our industry. Does the CISO own the risk of information security? Okay, this is a philosophical, debatable topic. A lot of beers can be drank over arguing this. My position is that no, the CISO, my job is to advise the business. I am like a counselor. I have done all the analysis, all the work. Here's the problem. This Icefall thing, pretty serious. You can fix it for $1 million. We can decouple the OT from the IT, and that way it's a less of an attack surface. But it's going to introduce some manual processes now for Carl to take it from over here to over there, because right now we automate it, but it's because it's connected to our IT infrastructure. Or we could do nothing. And at the end of the day, the likelihood impact of something happening is greater if we do nothing, et cetera. But this is my guidance to you, CEO. What do you want to do, right? So it's the advisement. Look for a bunch of, I would argue, look for a bunch of patches to come out on this. Another problem is if somebody exploits Icefall, you may not really know that it was Icefall that got exploited, because a lot of these devices aren't going to have EDR solutions on it. They're not running like full Windows. Well, they're not running full operating systems. Sometimes they have custom real-time operating systems. Sometimes they have Windows XP embedded. See, I said XP embedded, XP, right? Like they're still running XP. Okay. So you wouldn't know. You would know it was compromised, but you wouldn't know how it got compromised. So I'm not saying that this is a marketing thing by Forescout, because this is real information and real knowledge. But if you're responsible for ICS or OT, you may want to investigate this particular collection of flaws and see how it impacts your organization. This is, again, you could make the argument that if you're a bigger organization, vulnerability management is its own kind of capability. But a lot of times, vulnerability management will fall under GRC if it's a smaller team. If you're a GRC analyst responsible for vulnerability management, it's incumbent upon you to do this analysis and understand what is the real risk to your organization. Guys, the R in GRC is risk. Like, the job is to analyze the risk of Icefall to your organization. if you're running ICSOT. Okay. So there was actually a lot more meat on this story than I thought there was going to be. But yeah. All right, let's keep rolling.
Tidycat targets Exchange servers with new malware. Kaspersky researchers have discovered a new APT group dubbed Tidycat targeting Microsoft Exchange servers. Tidycat leverages two formerly unknown tools the researchers called Samurai and Ninja. Samurai is a passive backdoor, while Ninja allows multiple operators to collaborate on a target machine simultaneously. In December 2020, Tidycat began compromising Exchange servers in Taiwan and Vietnam, but between late February and early March of the year, the group expanded its tactics by abusing the proxy logon vulnerability to compromise multiple organizations across Europe and Asia. The researchers noted that Tidycat's motives appear to be geopolitical in nature, with a focus on governmental and military targets.
Interesting. So Tidycat, even though it says in the story is a advanced APT, it does not show up in MITRE ATT&CK, which I find noteworthy and interesting. So the key takeaway there is MITRE ATT&CK is awesome, but they don't have everything, right? Okay, so here's the story with this. Okay, advanced persistent threat actors are targeting Microsoft Exchange servers. These are on-prem servers. Guys, I hate to be so flippant and so I don't know. I guess flippant's the right word, but like migrate to the cloud, right? Microsoft Exchange Online is a very good solution. I've been using it for years. It's a very good solution. It allows all of the mail routing you could possibly want, plus a lot of threat intelligence built in, workflows for kind of incident response and incident management around or alert management around phishing emails, suspicious senders. You're pulling in all the telemetry from all of the Office 365 users across the world. So if somebody in Cameroon falls for a fish and reports it, right, it goes up, and then you don't fall for that same fish. In addition, you don't have on-prem Exchange servers, right, guys? Proxy Shell came out 2 years ago. That was like a major hot mess. People come in on the weekends to patch for Proxy Shell. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm being ignorant and simple-minded, but I don't see what the business case is for Exchange servers on-prem unless the only explanation is you haven't migrated to Office 365 at all and you're still running all fat client apps and IT infrastructure, or you have network bandwidth capability constraints, meaning that you live in like an area that doesn't like. So I've been to the South Pole, right? They only have internet for certain periods of the day because the satellite flies over, right? So you can't not have email for 14 hours a day, right? So that's a good example of why you would need the Exchange server on-prem. But I feel like Exchange server on-prem should be an exception, not the standard. And we're seeing things like this, guys. If they get into your Exchange server, and I know that they're using this as a foothold, but they could also compromise the Exchange server itself. If you get in the server, Exchange server, you can send fake emails. You can respond to emails. We saw, guys, Google IKEA, the furniture company, Google IKEA phishing attack like in 2021, right before Black Friday, or 2020, right before Black Friday. Somebody got into their email servers and replied to an existing group chat as the person with a link to malicious software, and it looked totally legit. Why wouldn't it be? It's Joel Belton emailing me. We were emailing all week. He's just replying with something else with a link to something. So of course I'm going to go get it. Right. So yeah, I understand budget constraints, but you're already in, I don't know. Office 365 is expensive, but it's the cost of doing business. How much is it? What's the cost of a compromised Exchange server? Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's keep rolling.
Confidence in API security leaves orgs at.
I did have a drink at 90 South. Yeah. The South Pole was really cool. It was a really, really cool experience.
High risk. Radware's 2022 State of API Security Report reveals a sharp increase in API usage due to reliance on cloud infrastructure and other inter-system communications. While 92% of those surveyed believe they have adequate protection for their APIs, 62% admit a third or more of their APIs are undocumented, leaving organizations vulnerable to cyber threats such as database exposures, data breaches, and scraping attacks. Additionally, half of respondents indicated their existing tools provide only partial or minimal API protection, highlighting that cybersecurity leaders may have a false sense of security when it comes to their APIs. Michelle McLean, vice president at Salt Security, said the findings reinforce that API security is vastly underprioritized and that the time is now to turn the dial and incorporate adequate solutions, as old tool sets are not enough.
Yeah. So this is a real thing. Okay, so here's the idea. Business leaders, information security leaders, CIOs, right, are beginning to they're overconfident about APIs, and this is actually something that I am personally, as a cybersecurity professional, I have concerns with. Okay, so APIs allow integrations, right? It's an application programming interface. It basically allows you to query some system and get something back without having to go through the front end, right? So if you open office.com in a web, or Gmail in a browser, whatever, and you go and pull your email and you're clicking on it through a web browser, then you open your mobile phone and you hit an app and it pulls the same email. You delete an email on your phone, it disappears up there. It's because it's one source in the back end, and the application is making API calls to the back end server. Now, you can write custom software, right? Like you could do a curl command on a terminal shell without an app and basically touch the server using APIs. Okay, so that's a lot of power, right? Threat actors can use APIs. Now, so then it becomes a question, and this is where I've been concerned, is like, how do we secure APIs? And it's like, oh, you need a API key. Like, okay, so that's it. So do we have an API key? Yes, no. That determines whether or not we're secure. This news story actually brought up something that is a real issue, and one that I want you to take away, especially if you're going to get interviewed and they ask you about APIs or something like that. Undocumented APIs. Guys, if anyone in chat, I used to be a software developer. If anyone in chat has developed any software, whether you just hack together a script or you're full on dev, commenting your code can be brutal because you're not writing code like every line you write is like perfect and working the way you want, and then you document it. No, if you're a hack like me, you basically write a bunch of code and then you like run into bug, and then it finally kind of works. And then you're not going to go back. Sometimes you go back and you document it a little bit, but you're not going to go back and document everything. It's just, you're not going to. So when people make APIs, they'll write a couple regular APIs like get data, set data, right? The get set functions are pretty standard, but then they write some, like they're trying to solve a very specific problem. It's not working. They write a little API function. It works. And then they move on, right? Well, when they document all of the API calls for the schema that you're going to give to other application developers to integrate with your service, they only list, like, let's say 20 API calls, the most popular ones that you want application developers to actually use. And then there's like 15 or 20 other API calls that were undocumented. And it's not difficult. Okay. It's not easy, but it's not difficult for threat actors to discover what those undocumented API calls were. A really famous one. Well, okay, hold on. Let me finish that thought. So, and once they get these, those aren't necessarily going through configuration management. They're not secure. People who are making decisions about the application may not know about those API calls. So then you start accidentally exposing things. Those additional undocumented APIs are essentially increased attack surface. So be mindful of undocumented APIs. And when you're talking to the dev team and you're asking them about API security, I guarantee you they're only going to be talking about the main ones that they're thinking of, not potentially undocumented ones. So you've got to be very mindful about that. The final thing I'll point out, as far as like a really powerful undocumented API call, a couple years ago, and some of my email admins, BSEC might know this one. A couple years ago, Microsoft actually had, it was like only whispered in closed circles. They had an API call into Exchange Online called like Magic Unicorn, right? And basically, when a threat actor breaks in, and this is when I worked in healthcare, when a threat actor breaks into your environment and gets into your email, there's no audit log as to what they did, right? So if they break into a physician's email account and the physician's been using email for communicating with patients, if you can't clearly identify what the threat actor did while they were logged into your account, you have to assume the entire email account is compromised, which is a massive HIPAA breach. Even though all they did was log in, change auto forwarding to their own account, and then started spamming with it like a classic Nigerian attack, you still have to go full compromise. So Microsoft actually had something that was undocumented called Magic Unicorn. You can Google it, and it basically allowed you to query what people did while they were in the account. Did they open this email? Did they preview this email? And we used that a lot in order to definitively prove that the threat actors did not look through the email of a physician or physicians or clinical staff, and prove that we did not need to make a HIPAA breach notification. That was undocumented. And eventually Microsoft, I don't want to get into the politics of it, Microsoft pulled that feature out and shut down that API, but it sucked. But anyways, undocumented APIs, it's increased attack surface. That's the key takeaway. That's the quote. Undocumented APIs equals increased attack surface.
Russian accused of hacking NATO think tank. The Attorney General has issued an arrest warrant for the Russian hacker Nikolaj Kozacek, who is accused of carrying out a cyber espionage attack against a NATO think tank in Germany. Kozacek hacked at least 2 NATO systems in 2017 and installed a keylogger to spy on the organization. German investigators believe that Kozacek, who is still at large, is a member of the Russia-linked APT-28 group, aka Fancy Bear. And that does it for today's cyber.
All right, guys. So that's interesting. APT-28, no joke. Fancy Bear. I want to say that APT-29 is, or yeah, I think APT-28 is Fancy Bear and 29 is Cozy Bear. Anyways, if you hear the term bear, that means it's Russian-based APT. I believe that's like the FireEye Mandiant naming convention. They use bear for Russia. They use like I think panda for China and different snakes for Iran. But anyways, and cats for India. But anyways, long story short, this is an interesting news story, but there's nothing crazy here, right? Elite hacker attacks NATO think tank, right? There's obviously this war going on between Russia and Ukraine. NATO is involved because it's basically like the 21st century version of the Allied forces, if you will. Is Sandworm also APT-28? So anyways, the long story short, they're advanced, very, very elite hackers, and they're hacking into a NATO think tank. I actually give credit to Germany or NATO, whoever, for actually being able to identify and determine that they were compromised and who the threat actor was that compromised them. That is, guys, I got to tell you, that is a major leap forward as far as, hold on one second. Ripley wants to go out now. It's a major leap forward in where we were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, like they would just be like hanging out in NATO's think tank and nobody would know any difference. So our ability to protect isn't as great because you're not going to stop an elite hacker from breaking in. If they're highly motivated and highly skilled, you will never stop them. They will get in. But the ability to detect it and then do something with that, that's fantastic. Now, obviously, it's pretty sensitive, so they didn't actually say whether or not this individual was able to exfiltrate data and information. You have to assume that they did, but who knows? Guys, I'm going to try to throw on my music right now and see if it destroys my my audio. So let's see what happens. I do tell you about a couple quick things. We'll see you later, Ed. All right, so I just turned my audio on. I turned my music on. I don't know if the audio failed. We're gonna do the raffle here once again. Hear me. Yeah, with Carlos. Right. You guys got my audio, please? I want to do the. All right. So I shut off the music. Let's do the raffle here really quickly, guys. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to do the raffle. So the code word was spicy. So good luck to everybody. First person to win the GRC Master Analyst Class voucher compliments of Barricade Cyber Solutions is Nico Nova Abakan. Nico Nova Abakan. Congratulations, Nico Nova, on winning. Let's go ahead and pick our second winner. Alfredo Silva. Congratulations, Alfredo Silva, on that. We've got 2 winners. Let's go ahead and pick our third winner. Kareem Collins, also squad member Kareem Collins. Thank you for the support, Kareem, and congratulations on winning your voucher. Let's go ahead and pick our fourth winner. Yeah, I'll stop turning on my music. Okay, here's our fourth winner. Russell Brinson, good old Russell in the upstate. All right, guys, congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much for playing and entering. Remember, we will be able to, we'll be doing raffles tomorrow and Friday. There we go for all the squad members. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for everybody. All right. Really quick, Nika Nova, you actually won a GRC Analyst Master Class voucher. It is a full course that I developed. And, you know, ask someone else because obviously I'm biased if it's good or not. I think it's fantastic. Ask someone else. But if you just connect with me on Discord, I'm going to put the link to Discord in chat right now. To all the winners, connect with me on Discord. You're going to see Nightbot right here. Drop a link to the Discord server. If you just go to discord.gg/simplycyber, you'll get it, or simplycyber.io/discord. We'll connect, okay? Or hit me up on LinkedIn. Just get up with me, okay? Yeah, you guys want a spicy? I'd be happy to do spicy really quickly. This is how I feel on a Wednesday.
It's looking spicy.
It's looking spicy. So just a quick reminder, guys, later today at 11:30, and I'm going to look at chat really quickly, but real quick, if you want, at 11:30 today, I will be stepping into a live cybersecurity simulation platform, piloting the CISO role as a blue team operator, and I will be vigilantly implementing exclusively CMMC level 1 as my security program framework. And the whole idea behind this is to test whether or not the CMMC level 1 has a level of efficacy that is worth a crap to protect your organization. And as I said, I don't think it does. Okay. I studied it yesterday in order to be able to deliver this stream later today. And when I was looking at it, I was like, ooh, this isn't good. There's like so many gaps. Like that's what I'll be providing you today. I'll be talking to you about where the gaps are and why it's disgusting that these things are gapped. Okay. So that's going to do it for this episode of First Things First, June 22nd, episode, I think 130 something. 137. Share it with others on social media if you would. I would appreciate that. Let me do this. Yeah, share it with people on your social media. Come by later today and let's have a good time. So until next time, y'all, thanks so much. And we will see you today at 11:30 a.m. I'll drop a link really quick actually in chat, and then I'm going to close out the show, okay? youtube.com/threatgen. youtube.com/threatgen. This is if you want to watch the CMMC live stream. Okay? There we go, guys. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much. And we'll see you later at 11:30. Or if you're just a threat intel person, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Have a good day.